All right, hello Tide fans. Welcome to Tide Talk. I'm your host, Sean Taylor. We're back again for week 3, coming off a big win against Texas A&M. Got my buddy Jimmy Messick over here to my right, Maurice Booth over here to my left. Guys, kind of what we expected. Want to jump right in and talk about what you thought, what's your ideas. We talked last week about, we knew we could score. We knew we were going to. Talked a little bit about the defense and what we'd like to see. So I'm gonna start with you this week, Maurice. I want to find out. No, not start with you. No. Okay.
I went to a party on Saturday afternoon. You were there, and you were there.
I was there.
I got chastised. I got in trouble. Jimmy's parents told me to be nice to their precious baby.
That's right. You know what? I was standing there when she said that, Maurice.
So it's kind of bothered me since Saturday afternoon.
I noticed you hadn't had much sleep because
I haven't, and I want to apologize to Jimmy because of the dumb things that he says that gets me so irritated. So I apologize.
I accept.
and I do think Mac Jones is a good quarterback. I got bombarded.
Contrary to popular belief.
And by the way, I did not ask her to say anything to you. That was just strictly her.
Mom, in case you're watching.
You
Thanks,
gave
Mom.
her a wink. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Maurice, let's get your take. Let's get your
I thought it was I want to say not predictable. I didn't think nobody ever really knows what A&M's got because of this Jimbo Fisher expectation. And it really kind of solidified some of his, coaching abilities at this next level.
Point, yeah.
And I know everybody talks about Florida State that year and so forth. It just happened, he had a good team, good players and so forth. He hasn't gotten there yet. I thought the one thing that I will say, as much as we were talking about it on Saturday, I saw a little bit of more of an attitude with the DBs, even though they were killing us across the middle. And I don't put that all on the DBs. Some of it's on linebackers. But I saw a little bit more angst, with
tenacity,
them.
maybe.
Yeah, I did, and I was glad to see that. And this is still what I would consider a very young group, and I liked seeing that. Something about it I just really liked.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Oh, absolutely. As far as the defense goes, I think those DBs. I think we have a couple of stars in the making on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
Malachi Moore is going to be really really good. A little disappointed though in Surtain. I don't, he kind of disappeared for some reason. It seemed like on Saturday. But those two younger guys, Wright with the interception return,
right.
I thought they really played well. It was fun and exciting to see those guys play. Still waiting for something to happen with that defensive line, I think. Other side of the ball, again, Mac Jones is too, a small sample size, but man, he's really good. I think we read, or I sent out a text to you guys about his QBR being the number one after 2 games, being the number one in the country. He's already setting records at Alabama as far as the 3 passes
above 85
yards for touchdowns. That's
right.
an Alabama record. So we know what we're getting with him now, I think, from last year and the 2 games this year. A little disappointed in the running game. I know we talked too about how their defense was basically just telling us, hey, we're going to stop the run, throw it, which we were able to. But even with that being said, I felt like we just, we wasn't getting the push that I thought we would get on up front. But overall, man, again, you can't really complain about a 52-24
SEC win.
And I think we really all predicted that it would kind of go like that, honestly.
Maurice, I want to comment on what you're saying about Jimbo Fisher. I read an article talking about Texas A&M's paying Jimbo Fisher for what he did in the past.
Yes.
And seems to be struggling a little bit.
Right.
Here at is it because he's in the SEC?
I think that has a lot to do with it, and he was doing really well in recruiting until came across a few violations. Bobby Bowden said it back in, was it 90 or 91, if I get to choose which conference to play in, I'm going to pick the ACC. No disrespect, but coming to the SEC week in, week out.
Different animal.
Yes. So it is, and he's in the West, which has had LSU, Auburn, and Alabama all national contenders, and it's a tough road to hoe. So.
I don't know why, but I'm one of those that's kind of drinking the Kool-Aid on the Jimbo Fisher thing. I said that I thought maybe A&M would be one of our toughest, competitions this year.
And so far they have been.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, you're right, man. I don't know what it is with that guy. You would think he would have had some, a little more success than what he's had, but.
Well, I mean, I think we said it. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're playing in the SEC, that also means you're recruiting in the SEC.
Right.
And let's also say that the Joker's recruiting in Texas, where he's got Texas, University of Texas.
Oklahoma.
He's got Oklahoma.
LSU.
So from a recruiting perspective, he's got a challenge, but then also on game day, it's a challenge, because I think everybody can agree that the SEC is the toughest conference, top to bottom. They're the toughest conference. I mean, if you look at the top five right now,
there's no question.
If you look at the top five, we've got 4 teams in the top 5. With Alabama, Georgia. I'm sorry, 3 teams in the top 5: Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. So I think it's tough, but my kind of take on the game, we expected it. I knew we were going to be able to score. I agree. I'm a little disappointed in our ability to run the football. I can remember back in the day when teams were doing the same thing. They were stacking the box, but we still were going to run the football. Now, is that because we're better in the passing game over the past few years? I mean, does that have to do with Sarkisian and the talent that we're recruiting from a wide receiver perspective? Not that we've never had good wide receivers, because we have. Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley. You can go on and name some of those. But across the board, now you're looking at Smitty, Waddle, and Mechie. And that's 3 guys on the field at the same time, on top of Najee Harris in the backfield. And so it's more complicated for defenses to have to stop 3 guys wide and a running game. And
you tell me which one, you're a former offense coordinator, but as a defense coordinator, which one would you rather, if you have to stop one of them?
Right. I mean, you've got to pick your poison.
Right.
And you commit.
3 things can happen when you throw the ball, so I'll take my chances with that. Unfortunately, like you said, it's again the best trio starting in college football today, in my opinion. Last year there was no question; they're all first rounders in the NFL, or one of them still there.
And I think part of it too is this offensive philosophies have changed across the board. I mean, we're back in the day where it was handoff, first down, handoff,
3
second
yards,
down,
cloud of dust.
Maybe play action on third, maybe even hand it off on third down. On that 3rd and short. So now it's not that at all. So I think part of it is the philosophies these days, but again, with the offensive line we got, the running backs we have, because again, I think part of the issue we had last year defensively was we scored so quick, and so I think that's part of what happened this past Saturday.
I don't really buy into that. I used to hear some other people, down the road that talked about their bus being that fast and all that garbage. If your defense is good, don't sit there and say, well, our defense doesn't get time to rest. They will get time to rest if they go 3 and out. If you make the other team punt, and
that's right.
On the 4th play, you're doing all right.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I buy into that either. Again, I don't know. I mean, I think that if you can get some stops on 3rd down and get off the field, not every single time. You're not always going to play perfectly, but if you can get off the field fairly often, I think that you can get enough breaks. So I think, I don't buy into that either. But I'll tell you this: I know that I read some stuff where Nick Saban said that they stopped, tried to stop the run, and they committed to that, and they did a good job of it. That's the reason Mac Jones was 20 for 27, 436 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Right.
We're able to do that. I'm not complaining. At least we're able to do that. There's some teams that we watched this past weekend that weren't able to do that. So I'm not going to complain. I would like to see us establish the running game better. I would like to see us be able to go to the run. We're going to come up against some teams in a couple, and I don't want to skip Ole Miss. Because
I was about to say,
I don't want to skip
Yeah,
Ole
you are.
Miss.
you're going to get your opportunity.
Yeah,
to
I don't
switch
want to
in.
skip Ole Miss because I'm going to tell you I think Ole Miss is going to be a challenging game. Lane Kiffin's always got something to prove, and I think it's going to be a
Maybe
challenging game.
challenging for our defense, not for our offense.
Well,
I agree with it because he's got a stud receiver, pretty good quarterback, can sling it. They'll be, you think we had some heartache the other day as far as those third down passes. We're going to see it again, but their defense, if you want to get into the stats, is the worst of the 74 teams playing.
and we will get into that, but I want to see us be able to have a little bit better balance. That's what I'd like to see ultimately. But let's take a quick break. We'll get back into breaking this game down a little bit more, and then of course talk about the next week's game at Ole Miss.
Are you going to thank Bob?
Yep. We're going to thank Bob. So,
Hi, Bob.
on behalf of
He's a
Bob
good
English
guy.
and State Farm, hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries, and home and auto insurance from State Farm. So make it a combo. Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Just call me, Bob English, or any of my experienced hometown team and find out how you could start saving today. It's just another way.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans. Talking about the Texas A&M game, some of the things that we saw, some of the things that we liked. Jimmy, you made a comment, and it seems like it's the conversation every week, and that's I'd like to see more out of the defensive line. And, as I said before, maybe it is that they're doing their job from a responsibility perspective. Maybe they're filling those gaps. They're taking up 2 blocks. They're letting other guys play, but you just don't see the dominance from what you have seen in the past. Jonathan Allen, Ashawn Robinson, Ryan Anderson. You don't see those guys. Quinnen Williams. We have some guys that I think have that potential. DJ Dale.
Is he playing?
Yeah,
I haven't heard his name.
Barrymore hadn't heard his name. Barrymore came back after being out a little bit of an injury. He played
Getting
this
him
past
healthy is going to help for sure.
But you haven't seen that defensive front just take over a ball game and be able to get pressure on the quarterback without a scheme, without a corner blitz or what have you. We didn't record 1 sack this past weekend. Not 1 sack on record. Now, we got some quarterback hurries, but we didn't record a sack. Now, that could have something to do with their getting rid of the ball fast. 3-step drop, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Could have a lot to do with it. 200 plus of their yards, of their passing yards, was to the tight end and to the running backs. So
Which we never adjusted to, apparently.
So again, I'm wanting to see some defensive line dominance, and we just hadn't seen that
Maybe
yet.
we've been a little spoiled on that side of the ball as well, as far as the defensive line is concerned, because like all the guys you just named. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Getting Barrymore back healthy, I think is going to help. But man, I'd like to see them, make a tackle every once in a while.
I like to hear their names called a little more.
Yeah, get their names called. Maybe make a tackle behind the line of scrimmage once or twice, like we used to. Not bat a ball down at the line of scrimmage. Something out of them. Maybe it's still coming. I don't know. I hope it is for sure. But I did read talking about the defense. We talked about what happened to Dylan Moses. I mean, he just looked like he was just not there for most of the game. And I read that part of what he was doing was spying on Mon. They didn't want Mon to get loose with his legs. They were saying, if he can make some of these passes under pressure, we're going to let him do that. So Moses, a lot of times, it was like he was just kind of in no man's land. But what I read, and didn't really think about it in the moment, was he had
a responsibility.
His responsibility was making sure Mon didn't take off and run.
I don't know. I heard Nick say today that some of those deep middles were the linebackers.
I don't doubt that either.
But there's 2 things, and Chris, if we could get a close-up on Jimmy's boots.
I wore these boots for my fans out there.
And I'm wearing socks for the first time, which Sean failed to mention.
Sorry.
And besides that.
I did too.
Oh, well, there we go. It's a shoe fest. So the one thing I will say about the defensive line, we sit there and talk about, really no tackles for loss. They're getting a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, knock on wood, we haven't really had any big yards rushing.
Yeah,
against
I was just going to say, what's the lesser of two evils?
Right.
You know, we are doing a really good job defending the run, but we aren't pressuring the quarterback. But again, what is the lesser of two evils? I like the fact that we are not allowing teams to run the football on us. If we can make a team one-dimensional,
Sure.
I think it increases our chances of success.
But the number one job of defensive line is stop the run.
Stop the run.
You clog it up and right there. But you love a defense where you have your front four and you don't ever have to blitz, and they take care of pressure and everything else.
I wonder though too. Again, man, I don't really know all the ins and outs of as far as preparation and whatnot. But as far as the defensive techniques and things of that nature, but I wonder part of it is a lot of times, man, we rush up the field, get into that quarterback, and how many athletic quarterbacks we play, and all of a sudden they step up in the pocket and they're going down the field 15 yards. So I wonder if part of it is coaching these guys to
contain,
just hold their
Who's
line
got the
and contain.
responsibility whenever he steps up to where you're basically almost like on a kickoff, stay in your lanes or whatever swim that you got going on to where you're filling that gap now. Don't let them out.
Right.
And it's not to me as much as that. It's just the time that he's getting. Now, whenever the other day, and we were all yelling at the same time, whenever we blitzed, we saw it coming, and even though he had pressure, he was able to get it off and connect.
Yeah.
I mean, now I give credit Jimbo for that, for preparation. Mon was very prepared in that because he never seemed puzzled, lost,
Right.
dazed, or the
Seemed like
moment never seemed too
more often
big.
than not, he was finding that hot,
correct.
that hot receiver,
He knew
whether it be a
he
back
knew
or
where
a
to
tight
go
end.
immediately. And on those blitzes, and so I think we're doing an okay job. Now we always go back to that really was a great 2015 front line. I mean, they're all in the NFL still. And you're rotating seven. You're in and out. That was just beautiful. I think we may have gotten a little spoiled on that. But I think these guys are okay. They may be coming into it. They're going to have their test, and we'll find out.
I think you're right. That's what I was going to comment on. I mean, we are spoiled Alabama fans. I mean, let's be realistic. We're spoiled Alabama fans. I mean, when you go back to those defenses that you knew you were okay rushing for,
Yes.
and you dropped 7,
Right.
because you could get pressure with the 4. You had Tim Williams coming off the edge, who was as quick coming off the edge as anybody. And Ryan Anderson on the other side. So I think we are spoiled to a degree. I think the expectation may be a little much, and these guys, I mean, they're still a little young. DJ Dell's just a sophomore.
Right.
Barremore's just either a redshirt
He's a redshirt
sophomore.
sophomore.
I mean, so Anderson is a true freshman. So.
He got his name right this week.
Hey,
Yeah, that's correct.
That is
They're
one
coming
strong
into their
suit
own.
freshman.
They are doing a good job stopping the run. Again, the expectation may be a little great for this group.
I think
at the
it'll
time.
come on, but it better come on soon. We play Georgia in 2 weeks, and get into the rest of the SEC. But whenever, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. If we get to the playoff, conversation, that you've got to bring a defense into that. I mean,
Without a doubt.
There is no question. You're not going to get to the next level without
Well,
one.
hopefully, again, we're still early in the season, so hopefully we'll start seeing some of that improvement week in and week out.
And
So,
I really think, I know we're very critical, and the other day we were a little, I don't want to say we got carried away as far as the defense giving up the big plays, but I sense that they were playing a little bit. They were playing better than they did against Missouri. Just the intensity level that never seemed to drop off like it did the other day. And leading up to this weekend, if there's over 24, 28 points, I immediately go back to the Arkansas game 2 years ago where we put 63, but they put 31.
Right.
And there were some changes made after that game. So I'll leave it at that because I'll quit bad-mouthing because it seems like everybody else has jumped on board. I'll go on to pick on something else now.
That's right. That's right. And Again, it is only the second game for some of these guys. As far as playing together as a group, it's their second game. Now, they had some time in the offseason, but they didn't have a spring like normal.
Right.
So I think as long as they continue to get better, as long as they progress from week to week, then that's what I want to see. We'll get in. We're going to take a break in just a second, but we will talk a little bit more about some of the guys that you mentioned Surtain, and he kind of did get lost in the shuffle a little bit. Now, is that because he's probably playing lockdown on some of the guys and he's doing a really good job and they're not throwing his way? I think that's true in some cases. I think he is playing a role and he's having to do, some of the things he's taking on. He's taking on that, matchup most of the time. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we'll get into this coming week's game against Ole Miss. But hold your seats, Tide fans. We're going to take a short break on behalf of Bob English and State Farm. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
Enjoy the good times a little more with the right plan. As your State Farm agent, I am here to help you protect your dreams and loved ones with life insurance. With over 60 years combined State Farm experience, call me or any of my team to find out which options are best for you. Another way, we're here to help life go right.
All right, Tide fans, we're going to start this last segment, and we're going to kind of finish up with that little bit. Yeah,
Making sure they're shining.
There you go.
Folks out there.
Can you get mine too while you're at?
Did you get those at Walmart?
Maurice, we were talking about battle. Just the fact that the guy's just a sophomore, and you see kind of him being more of a leader out there. Not just from a playing perspective, but he's vocal. He's and at the beginning of the year, as you mentioned, or as if you remember, I mentioned that the team, the guys, really said that he'd stepped into that role.
Right.
Moses is the signal caller from the front seven perspective, but on that backside,
Which at the time, on any play, you have 5, 6, or 7 out there. So
right.
He knows basically from things that we've read everything about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying player-wise, but as far as intellect, you go all the way back to Rolando McClain when Coach Saban said, I don't see y'all asking about this kid because he knows everything about this defense.
Right.
And then you saw him, I won't say coaching on the field, but giving instructions. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with Battle, that Minkah Fitzpatrick type of, this
leadership.
is where we're supposed to be, get lined up. He seems very comfortable on the field no matter what comes out.
Right.
So,
And just to clarify, because we were talking about this, you're not saying that he is a Minkah Fitzpatric yet, but you're
I'm
saying he's taking that leadership role.
I'm saying he's better. No, no, he's progressing nicely.
Right, in that role.
Yes.
I definitely see that from him. He's very active. I want to talk a little bit about, and we'll be brief about this because I think it's the elephant in the room. We need to do a better job tackling. We're missing way too many tackles. And specifically the one big play that they had, the touchdown down the sideline, Wright just misses.
Very unexcusable.
Yeah, misses the guy, tries to push him, but doesn't do his job and get him out of bounds. And they talked about that a little bit later. I mean, we're missing too many tackles. We're missing too many tackles in the middle of the field.
Right.
Well, I thought it was a little bit better than the first game, but you're right. It still needs to be improved for sure.
As we continue to see tougher opponents, we're going to see more five-star athletes. We're going to face more guys that are more difficult to tackle. And that potentially could hurt you. Look at last year's game against LSU. We missed way too many tackles, and those guys had something to prove. And they kept running after contact and picked up numerous yards after contact. And so we got to do a better job tackling. Again, I think that comes with the more they play, because I don't know how much tackling we did in the off season. There's so many precautions with respect to, tackling drills and concussions and et cetera. I don't know how much we did. I think they get the majority of their tackling in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that is a topic of discussion.
The thing that you say that it's not just Alabama. You can watch
that's
any
right.
college
I
game.
agree.
You can watch NFL games, and it's kind of sloppy as
I
far
agree.
as the overall techniques. It's just not there. And maybe it will come later in the year. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I think it does have a lot. I think we're seeing now what the purpose and how beneficial spring practices.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So
We hadn't really talked a lot about the offense, but let's talk about the offense. Let's talk about Mac Jones. Let's talk about the fact that, man, this guy's breaking records or setting records. I mean,
We don't talk about the offense.
I know, but listen. No, it's not just because.
No, is it gonna be another
Not
I told you
because
so?
Not because Miss Messick
I
got
learned my
on.
lesson. Get off me.
Not because Miss Messick got on you on Saturday. But listen, the guy was questioned. If you saw the little hype video, I guess they did, where the commentators are questioning Mac Jones and saying, but Tua's gone and all this stuff. And listen, the guy has stepped up. As you mentioned, quarterback ratings #1 in the country. He's already set Alabama, history with respect to the number of 80, plus touchdown passing yards. Listen, the guy, to me, is very polished, and he's got 2 more years left. I mean, the guy's really polished.
I think he's going after this year personally, but I could be wrong about that.
I'm just, it reminds me of A.J. McCarron.
No, and this time I'm serious. I think he's better.
He reminds me of A.J. McCarron with respect to his demeanor, not necessarily his play.
Right.
But, A.J. McCarron was, it seemed like he just got it done. I mean, Mac Jones is throwing some balls that are dimes.
Perfect.
I mean, they are dimes.
Yeah.
I mean, and, give or take 1 or 2. Listen, the thing I like about the guy is he threw the interception,
Yeah.
tried to force a pass. They tie the game 14-14, and then we come back and roll 3 touchdowns straight.
Right. And Saban talked about that today in his press conference about, I think he's matured to where, he doesn't linger on things like the interception the other day. He just goes on. I really do, and I told you this the other day, and I don't want to say it again, so I'm not. But he really does. He throws a good ball. I like his stature. He is a big kid or young man now that has filled out. And the one thing, we've kind of touched on it, but he's had all day in both games. Has anybody touched him?
I mean, I'm going to tell you,
Not really.
and even though he says he likes the contact, minus the contact that he had when he threw the touchdown pass to Waddle in the first game,
Right.
I don't know that he's been hit really.
I mean, you see him back there, and he'll maybe move a little bit, but
Step up or step
He
to the
does
side.
a very good job with his feet.
so as much as we want to talk about not being able to run the ball,
He's got a lot of
quarterback is playing
protection.
flag football back here.
And, and guess what? And the good news is our opponent this week, his stats are going to be that much better. They should be that
They
much
should
better.
be,
They should be. He
absolutely.
should be padding those stats this week because Ole Miss is not very good on the defensive side of the ball.
So let's go on into that. We're going
Landsharks.
to Ole Miss. Nick Saban's 20-0 against former assistant coaches. We're going to Oxford. What people say is going to be a shootout. People say it's going to be a high-scoring game. Lane Kiffin is going to throw everything in the kitchen sink because he has nothing to lose. Yeah. Is that a little scary for you? Do you have any concern about that at all?
No.
People said Hillary was going to win too. That didn't happen.
So,
So,
honestly, I'm kind of excited about it because it's going to be a good test again for that defense. We're going to see again. Can we make
I
tackles?
like that. I want him to face an.
Yeah,
I do too.
I want
let
him
Lane
to,
come out there and throw the kitchen sink at us because that's what he's going to do. And I'm sure. And look, we're going to give up points. We're not going to shut them down. They're going to score probably in the 20s if I had to guess. Who knows? They may even score get a late garbage touchdown and be in the 30s. But we're probably going to be in the 60s. I mean, but and I'm not saying that's going to be a knock on how our defensive plays. That's just
What's
who
it
he
a
is.
knock on?
It's not a knock on. It's just giving them credit for being able to make
Nice.
plays in their offense.
So if Ole Miss only scores 14 points against another opponent or gets shut out,
Have they done that yet?
I don't know. I don't follow Ole Miss.
No, they haven't.
So, but I'm just saying, I'm not the type that just accepts, oh, well, they're good, they're going to score 30 points. I don't believe in that. And I don't think Nick does either, because he made changes before because another team did that.
So you can't see like a fourth quarter us up 5 touchdowns and them getting a couple of garbage touchdowns late in the game and them scoring 30.
I mean, yeah, I can see it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, if we're just going to sit there and go, oh, well, it's going to happen, no, it shouldn't just happen. Because whoever's in there should be playing and be playing the same schemes that we've been playing. It shouldn't. There should be no drop off. Now I know if there probably is. If not, that's why there's a 1 and a 2.
Right.
So, but at the same time, that many points. And the one thing we haven't mentioned, A&M had over 400 yards total offense. Are you kidding me?
208 of
Well,
it came
I
to
guess the point
passing
I was
to the
trying to
tight
make-
end and running back.
I mean, look, we've given up 20-something points in
But
each
what I'm
game,
saying is that's
and I
gonna
think
come-
Ole Miss's offense is better than both of the ones we've already played.
But-
So
And I'm reminded because we pat ourselves on the back 2 years ago, then we went out to San Francisco, and Clemson opened up a can on us that we still haven't forgotten.
At least we
Our
hope not,
defense,
anyway.
that was the year, our defense that everybody thought that they were good because it was under Saban, and it was, was it Tosh Lupe, the
Yeah.
former, and Pete Golding was assistant. It was this, we can't accept that type of defensive play where you give up over 400 yards to the other team and giving up 31. Really shouldn't give up over 18, in my opinion, to a team like, because the talent level that we have on both sides just throughout the team is really too great. And I'm not saying that as being arrogant, but we win the recruiting war every year, so it should be that dominant.
Should be a differential.
Thank you.
And
I understand. I get
I'm
you.
going
I
to
get
agree
your
with
point.
Jimmy, though, Maurice. I think, based on what I've seen so far, I think Ole Miss's offense is better than Missouri and Texas A&M.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it'll be interesting to
Sure.
see. I think you're right, Jimmy. It'll be a great opportunity for our defense to grow a little bit more and also see
I'm looking forward to that.
see something a little different this week, and you can bet that Lane Kiffin's going to have something different for them. They're talented at the wide receiver. Their quarterback's a good quarterback, slings the ball around. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a challenge for us, and I hope that we're preparing accordingly. I'm not concerned as much offensively. I think we'll put up as many points as we need to put up.
Score as many
as we
Nick
need
Saban
to.
wants.
Yeah,
If we don't,
there's an issue.
I mean, it's the worst defense statistically, worst rushing defense, and 60th rated pass defense, which there's only 74 teams playing right now. So,
Quick prediction.
I mean, I think we cover the 24 points. Again, we'll score as many points on them as we want to score, which I think would be in the 50s. I think it'd be something like this past weekend, honestly, 50-something to 20-something maybe, unless they get a garbage.
You don't
Yeah.
like to give numbers, but
oh, I'm fine with it. I would say.
I'm the one that don't like giving numbers.
Right.
He loves giving numbers.
I would say originally I was going to say 59, maybe 52 to 24. I think they get 24 on us, and that's what I mean. If we get into the 30s,
something's wrong.
something's wrong. We got problems. I don't care who you are.
Gotcha.
I'm going to go. I'm not. We're not going to get in the 50s. Not because we can't. I just think that we're going. I think it'll be 49.
You think we'll see a lot of Bryce Young then?
49-17. I think Bryce Young will play. Look, it'll be Lane Kiffin. It'll be his first year at Ole Miss. I think we're gonna be early and often, and then I think he's gonna let the guys play. Because look, we play Georgia the next weekend.
That's true.
So I think that he's gonna get some guys in early, and I think it'll be 49-17 ish.
And before we wrap up, I really do think that there'll be a part of it that Nick's going, all right, Lane, you always ran your mouth.
Yeah.
I love you like a son, but I'm going to show you something.
Right. let Daddy do the talking right here. Well, it's definitely going to be a good atmosphere. Oxford's always a great place to play. It's going to be a road SEC game. It's going to be a night game. So that'll be good. It'll be a great challenge for our defense. And it'll be interesting to see if Mac Jones can continue the momentum. It'll be interesting to see if the offense can keep putting up numbers. I'd like to see us run the football. And that way, right before Georgia, we have a little bit more balance. We establish a running game, and then we go into the Georgia game kicking on all cylinders. So we'll be right back here again next week. Alabama fans, watch us on Channel 207 and check us out on our YouTube channel. And we'll see you again right here next week on Tide Talk. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.